As a DJ school, we get a certain inquiry quite regularly, and it's from a quite significantly older potential student who says something like, "You're going to think I'm really weird, but I want to learn to DJ." And they mention words like midlife crisis or later life crisis, and they say things like, "Look, keep this to yourself because I don't want people to laugh at me. I don't want people to point at me and tell me I'm stupid, but I really want to learn to DJ." And in the last week, my support team were telling me in our weekly team meeting today, they've had 5 people inquiring about a course that we just launched who were over 70 and who were clear that they were over 70. And so today we're looking at why it's never too late to learn to DJ. If you're watching the recording of this, it's actually a live show. So to give our live audience time to arrive, I'm going to play our 30-second intro and then we'll get right down to it. I'm going to give you 7 reasons why it's not and 3 tips for doing it. And as ever, it's going to be about you guys and girls. So on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch, tell me. I'm monitoring, and at the end, we'll chat. See you in 30 seconds time. Well, there we go. The countdown wasn't right, but the 30 seconds was. Right, welcome. We're talking about your age and whether it gets in the way of you learning to be a DJ today. And as I said, we're getting more and more people here at Digital DJ Tips. We've got 37,000 students, right? So we get everyone from, we've literally had children whose dads or mums have bought them a DJ course and helped them through it, who are now adults and who are now DJing for a living. But we've also got people who are our kind of normal audience, who are adults. They've got jobs and responsibilities and often kids, and they're paying for a house and they're doing all right with life, but DJing's their escape, right? It's a hobby. That's our kind of big chunk in the middle. But then, as I say, we're seeing more and more people up at the other end of all of this who are not either of those groups. They're not the usual age of a DJ, if you like. You would expect a younger person or someone doing it for a great hobby or part-time job in the middle. They're what we would call old. They call themselves old. And as I say, they're usually quite apologetic about the whole thing. So look, I'm here to tell you, as a DJ tutor and as someone who's taught people of every age, why it's absolutely fine to want to learn DJing and to do it at any age, including 70 plus. Whatever age you might be, retirement, whatever. So here's your 7 reasons. Number 1, DJing itself has grown up. 50 years of hip hop. Our very own tutor, Jazzy Jeff, went on tour with his crew. None of them below the age of 50, most of them pushing 60, right? These are full-time professional DJs. 50 years of hip hop, just think that through for a second. It's incredible that this scene has lasted this long, especially for those of us who thought it was just going to be a flash in the pan. I remember my very first DJing when I was playing in clubs for the first time in 1990 and 1991, thinking, this is too good to last. And just riding it for what it was. And guess what? Year after year after year, it was still there. It's grown up. DJing itself has grown up. You look in the window of any decent music equipment shop nowadays, and alongside the guitars and the keyboards and the saxophones and all that stuff, you've also got your DJ gear, right? And so it is just a fact of all of this that it's now something that is accepted alongside any other way of expressing yourself musically. I think that brings me on to the second point, which is it's bigger than clubs. It's bigger than clubbing. DJing kind of started in clubs and it's still very much important in clubs, but look, it's broken out in all kinds of areas. It's now something that's more about musical expression as much as anything else. It's always in you, right? If you've grown up as someone who went out clubbing or who's maybe always wanted to do it, it's not going to leave you. It's not going to go away. You're not suddenly going to get into golf or chess. It's always going to be there. Well, you might do as well, but it's always going to be there. And so just because you're getting older, you know, it's bigger than clubs. It's bigger than clubbing. It's a thing, something we want to do. It's self-expression. It's just sharing. It's just sharing the music that you love. And sharing the music that you love is a good thing. It's not something that is limited by age. And of course, there's more places that aren't nightclubs that you can do it. You could live stream. A lot of people are live streaming now, and you can find an audience for the music that you really love that maybe you never could in public with live streaming, radio, podcasts, and so on. Because it's about more bigger than clubs. It's about sharing the music you love. As you get older, you get better taste. I remember when I was 20, I said, I'm never going to buy any records that are not new. I'm not going to buy music that hasn't been made now, because there's so much great stuff going on now. I don't care about the past. How stupid is that, right? As I've got older, I've realized that there's a whole wealth of music going back a long time, but also the amount of time I've been involved in music has become longer and longer and longer. So there's this wealth of music that older people have that younger people, either through their own kind of, no, it's not for me, or just through the fact they haven't been doing it as long, don't have. Number 3, there are niches out there for older DJs. There are retro nights that reinvent or that put new life into or that remember old scenes that have now gone. There are events which are deliberately for older people, like bars where divorcees go, single older people go. There are events that are planned for families so you can take your kids along. There are events that are planned to work around babysitting hours so that you can go out and get home before midnight for the babysitter and for work the next day. The people DJing at these events are not the people from the next generation coming up. They're the people the same age as the people going to these events, right? There is a call for DJs for older people, and it goes all the way up. I had a wonderful email from someone telling me he took up DJing as literally a mixing DJ using equipment like this stuff we've got here. Took this up after a whole lifetime of DJing on radio, big commercial networks in the US, and took up mixing DJing because he wanted to play for tea dances and for people his age who are now in their late 70s. How wonderful is that? There are niches for older people. So number 5, people don't feel old like they used to. Life used to be harder for most of us. The lucky ones now, it's not as hard anymore. And so people don't get old and they don't feel as old as they did a generation or 2 generations ago. My dad said to me not so long ago, my dad's in he's nearly 80, he's 80 next year. My dad said to me, I went back to a place I used to work. So he used to work, you know, typical man of his generation, same job for a long time. He would have had it for life if he could, but he went back to somewhere he'd worked for a good 10 years once, and he hadn't been back there for decades. And a lot of people that were there had been there all that time, right? So he's going back into a work environment where there's people he hasn't seen for decades. And he said they all looked so old, Phil. Of course, I hadn't aged a day. Of course he was joking, of course he knew he'd aged. But the point is, people don't feel old in themselves. How often have you heard someone say, I don't feel 70 or whatever, right? And it's also the fact that they're perceived differently. Older people are perceived differently. This is our kind of losing count. I think it's number 5. In the old days, you kind of grew up and you were old at 25, right? You know, you had your Sunday suit and your little tie, and I'm obviously generalizing, but go with me. You had your responsibilities. You kind of grew up and that was it. You were old until you died. Now, people are not really growing up. You know, you reach a point where you are an adult, you're big, and then you just carry on doing the stuff that makes you happy as long as you damn well can until your health fails. And for me, that big thing between, you know, 18 or 21 and whatever age that happens at, you're pretty much the same. There's no expectation that you have to do this at this age and that at that age and so on. It's fluid. It's wonderful, of course. And if you're lucky enough to be living in somewhere that's affluent enough and that's privileged enough to have that kind of vibe going on, yeah, people just don't feel old. In fact, there's a photo that I want to share with you. This is of my wife's dad, who is in his mid-70s, and this was on his Facebook, and she said, oh, if you're talking about, you know, not feeling old, show him that picture of my dad. So here's a picture of my wife's dad. Now look, there's nothing about Roy there, good on you, Roy, that says I can't be a DJ, is there, right? How many DJs have you seen playing weddings and mobile events and so on who Roy would be easily transplantable into that position, right? So look, the fact is, older people are perceived very differently nowadays to the way they were a generation or 2 ago. Right, I'm gonna get medical now. I'm gonna get scientific. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Now, this is something that is not only proven, it is advisable. It's why a lot of folk try and keep their minds active doing whatever it is they want to do, puzzle books, Sudoku, whatever it is. Look, what would you rather do? Word puzzles or playing the music you love for people who want to hear it? To me, if you're going to keep your mind active, pick something that you really are going to stick to. DJing, pretty good one, right? And my final thing is time and money and general determination to get this done. If you're older, especially if you've retired, you've got those two things which anyone who isn't will probably be very jealous of, which is time and money. In other words, you can afford your hobby and you've got the time to put into it. Normally we have one or the other, right? Normally we've got the money in the bank, but we haven't got any time to spend it because we're too busy working. Or, you know, we can't find work or whatever. And so we've got a bit of time to spare, but we're spending all that time worrying about where the next load of money is coming from. To have both, which is again a privileged position, but you tend to find older people get themselves into this position, is a good time to be learning something like DJing. And of course, if not, there's an urgency there, right? You're getting older. So there's 7 reasons why it's never too late to learn to DJ. Before talking to you guys and girls then, and I can see lots of comments coming in here, which is great as always, I just want to share the 3 tips from us here at Digital DJ Tips. If you are thinking about taking up DJing and you're a little bit older, as to how you can overcome any procrastination you've got going on. We've already covered. You ain't got time for procrastination. That's one truth here. So number 1, don't fear the technology. Stuff like this, it looks difficult, right? It's got an awful lot in it. You take one look at all these functions and features here and you're like, oh no, how does all this work? It's way too much for me. For me, it's all about 2 record decks and a mixer. I can't even begin to think about this digital way of doing things. Where am I going to get the music from? How does the gear work? What are the techniques? What are all these buttons? Etc, etc, etc. So don't fear the technology. Really, to DJ, you need 4 things. You need 2 sources of music where you can mix them together. Second thing, something to mix them together with. You need something to listen to one of those sources of music while your audience is listening to the other. That's called headphones. And you need something for the audience to listen to the music on, which means you need some speakers. When you've got a mixer, 2 audio sources, some speakers and some headphones, you have got what you need to DJ. Guess what? Every single DJ system out there nowadays, including the DJ apps on your phone, give you that. So there's no need to fear the technology, because as long as you've identified those 4 things in the technology you've got, you can ignore the rest. The way we teach DJing here at Digital DJ Tips is we start from the very basics and teach you how whatever gear you've got, you can very, very, very quickly start to do the things that mean that the right stuff's coming out the speakers and you are doing the things a DJ does. The rest is optional. You've got all the time in the world. Well, maybe not all the time in the world. Freudian slip there maybe, but you know what I'm saying. You don't have to learn it all on the first day. And don't let the fact that the technology has got all these awesome things in it stop you doing it at all. The second thing, I kind of stuck my foot in my mouth to mention it then, didn't I? If not now, when? If you've always wanted to do this, if it's never left you, then when are you going to do it? Ultimately, it's better to regret something you have done than to regret something you haven't done, right? And the third reason, the third tip is to, tip number 2 really, if not now, when? You know, do it now. The tip is don't wait. The third tip is don't do it alone. So it is hard to learn to DJ. It's hard to learn any new skill. And as I said at the top of this show, you know, one of the things that people say, they apologize and say, you might think I'm stupid. Don't tell anyone. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to point the finger and say, what are you doing? But you can't do it alone. You need a community of people around you when you're learning something new. Here at the school, when people sign up for one of our courses, they get an immediate access to our Student Hub, which is a group of students of all of our courses and of all ages. And Student Hub is notable for a couple of things. One, it is an extremely encouraging place to be, where no opinion, no question, no person are sneered at or sniggered at or laughed at, because A, the people in there just aren't like that, and B, we wouldn't tolerate it. Not that we've ever had to put our foot down in there at all. It's a wonderful community to be in. So Student Hub is a great place for that. And then it's a great place where you can share your triumphs and your wins and your hassles and your challenges, and you immediately find your people in there. And let me tell you, we've got people in there of every single age group. So don't do it alone. Make sure that when you're learning, you've got community around you somehow. And as I say, as an online school, we do that with an online forum. Okay. That is what I've got to say about why it's never too late to learn to DJ, but it's what you've got to say that really matters. So now I'm going to flip over to, in fact, there was one more thing I wanted to share with you, which we love. It's something we share sometimes on the website itself, and it was a Fatboy Slim picture. Or rather a quote from Fatboy Slim that we turned into a bit of a meme. So I'm just going to show you that now before we get into what you've got to say about this stuff. And here it is. So I'm going to blow it up on my screen and then show it to you. I would if it would let me do that. It's always something to trip you up. See, technology will trip you up, whatever. So don't worry about the fact that it's going to do so. Right, here we go. Let's have another look at it. Here it is. This is a job for life. DJs are not like footballers or pop stars. We don't have a shelf life based on our age. Fatboy Slim quoting that there. Fatboy Slim, I interviewed him for the website actually a few years back when he DJ'd here in Gibraltar. Wonderful times. Okay, so that was the final thing I wanted to share with you there. Let's go over to you guys and girls now and talk about this for the rest of our time together. So firstly, hello everyone. How are you? You all good? I've got all your comments here, so don't worry. Here they all are. Those of you that don't know how this works, we have a control panel here and I can see everything you're all saying. So there we go. And I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to pick and choose among your comments. First, a few hellos to our favourite regulars, Kesha, the Ruckus, and DJ AD Foster, to Benny and David McCann, aka D Sounds 45, to Mark Reflection, to Catherine Catsgroove, and to everyone else among our regulars here. Hi Papa D, not seen you for a while. Barry, nice to see you, my friend. Hello, Sir Charge. Right, so Assi says, hi Phil, I've just bought your stems and acapellas course. I hope it will enhance my mixing. Shh, no one knows about that yet. No, they do. A few people have heard about that course, but it is still private. We haven't launched it publicly yet. It's only to our members. However, if you're interested in our stems and acapellas course, it is coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. Music, DJ Snelden says, oh no, the music carried on running in the background. Oh well, never mind. It stopped in the end, didn't it, people? But thank you for pointing that out. You got a minute of me talking over the music. There we go. I need to work out what went wrong there. Get it fixed. Anyway, okay, thank you for that. Sarah, I started at 50. Okay, I'm not going to be headlining at the big clubs and festivals because it's past my bedtime, but I'm having a hell of a lot of fun nonetheless. Thank you for that. Hello, Mixmaster G. Right, so what else have we got to say about later life DJing? Some dumb guy, I'm sure you're not, on YouTube says, hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm 35 and I just started DJing a month ago. Yeah, right. But a spring chicken. This is from DJ Gons on Twitch. What's up, Phil and the Digital DJ Tips crew? I just turned 50. I had a visit from my older brother. Got him to connect his phone to my DJM S7 and we listened to old breakdancing freestyle tunes. I loved being able to share with him. There's that word, share. Sharing is not something that only young people get to do. Sharing the music you love is timeless. Jesse says, I just got my first DJ gear this week and I'm starting to learn. It seems like trying to get a DDJ 800 is near impossible. Well, I'm glad you managed to get one there. This is from Papa D. Started DJing at 17. I'm now 55, still doing it. I'm 48, says Harry. I just learned digital mixing after 30 years of mixing on record decks. Awesome Possum says, not too old. F that. Some of my favourite streamers were part of the hardcore rave scene in the 90s and have records to prove it. They are literally dusty old records lost to time that still bump hard. What were we saying? Scenes grow up. The people who are experts in those scenes grow up with them. Also, says What's New, also on Twitch, older DJs would take clients seriously with what they want, and older DJs would also understand things like not playing explicit music and clean edits, etc. In other words, there might be a level of professionality that comes with being an older DJ that doesn't come when you're younger. I hear what you're saying there. The 25-year throwback and revival events are certainly a thing, but some producers now weren't even alive when the old school rave scene was current, says Awesome Possum again, following up there. Paul, I'm 46 and I'm just learning on a Flex 4, late to the party, but just doing it for fun. There's nothing wrong with just doing it for fun, of course. Hey Phil, says Craig, not only is it never too late to start DJing, it's never too late to learn new skills, even if you have been DJing for years. Good point, well made. This may sound like I'm trying to help you sell courses, says Craig Fairs. But I could not be happier with the new transition techniques that I've learned from your Mixing for Mobile and Wedding DJs course. You can teach an old dog new tricks for sure. Oh, thank you for that, Craig. Keith, I took up DJing when COVID hit after early retirement. I love it. I'm now starting your acapellas course. I've just turned 60. I'm enjoying every minute and I'm getting kudos from my daughters. What could be better than getting kudos from your daughters? It's not too late to go to DJ school, says What's New Queso on Twitch, who's 40. Graduating from DJ school was the best decision I ever made. I've been teaching myself to DJ for 3 years, says Kesha, and I've made at least 15 mixes. My family think I'm stupid for pursuing my passion, but they don't matter because they're closed-minded. Hopefully you're finding the community here is not that way and is helping you. Mark, I've been doing this since 1973 and I still haven't stopped. It's not just a hobby, it's about making everyone happy and yourself at the same time. Wonderful words, well said. Jake on Facebook says, I've been DJing for 25 years. I've mentored DJs and most of them made it to the big clubs and the huge scene, but now I'm mentoring a 50-something. But I've never seen this passion and eagerness to learn in any of them. He got all that it takes to be a better DJ. He can now beat mix without syncing and knows how to count and mix really well. So awesome. So an older person teaching another older person is exactly what we want to hear here. And thank you for sharing the fact that your 50-year-old student is a good student. It underlines a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, doesn't it? So Pat on YouTube says, if you're worried about buying a DJ course from these guys and find it wasn't for you, don't worry. I bought my Record Box course and it didn't fit me. However, it was very, very good. And also we have a lifetime switch to another course or get your money back if you can't find anything for you here at Digital DJ Tips. We're not here to talk about our courses, but that's how we run. We don't want your money unless you're happy. It's why we've been here for nearly a decade and a half and intend to be here for the next decade and a half as well. I think today's DJs are lost in technology, says SJ Mixit. That doesn't equate to being a good DJ. The basic raw element is where you see and hear how good someone is. 2 decks, something to mix them with, headphones, speakers. We agree. Doesn't mean you can't do that with new technology, but you shouldn't hide behind it. I agree with you. I started DJing with cassette tapes in the 80s. I progressed to vinyl, then to CDs, and now into the digital age. It's been an awesome journey. Music is my world, says Doc Andy. Thank you for that, Doc Andy. My partner said I was having a midlife crisis because I wanted decks to learn how to DJ, says Paul Ash. So, well, I hope your partner's on board now with you, Paul. This is from Ray on Facebook. I just bought the new acapella course. I'm excited to start it. If anyone's on the fence about DJ courses, just pull the trigger. Even if you're an experienced DJ, you will either learn something new, break a bad habit, or refresh on things you forgot about. I love all the courses and especially the Student Hub community. Thank you, Digital DJ Tips team. Thank you, Ray, for that. And it's lovely to have you in the community. Same thing we're hearing from all of you. I'm older and I'm enjoying my DJing. Aaron, I'm 45 and I'm just getting started. Michael, I decided to start DJing when I gave up drinking alcohol at the age of 57, so I bought a lot of DJ equipment with the money I saved. Ricardo, I started hobby DJing 2 years ago at the age of 46 and I've just played my first gig at the age of 48. John, hi Phil, last time we spoke was back in 2020, just after I bumped into you on a flight to Thailand. I remember you, John. I agree, it's never too late to start DJing. I'm in my 60s and I love all the new kit and I enjoy learning it. Lovely to hook up with you again there, John. I love this topic, Phil. In 15 minutes, you just gave me a giant leap forward in inspiration and in life as a 40-something. Well, David, that's what we're here for. Thank you for that. DJ Snelden started DJing in college at 19, 48 now, and still doing it. And Simon says older DJs have a great advantage, experience and a vast understanding of sometimes decades of music and different genres that work on the dance floor, keeping up with what is popular. You will fly if you do that. Thank you very much. Right, we've got the vibe. You are not too late if you want to get into DJing, as long as you can stand up and your arthritis lets you use the controls, you're in. So don't let anything stop you. DJing itself has changed. DJing's bigger than clubs and clubbing. There are niches that need older DJs nowadays. Older people are perceived differently anyway nowadays and they see themselves differently. It's always good to learn things when you get older, and you've probably got more time and money on your hands here than you had when you were younger as well, which means, again, probably a good time to do it. And our 3 tips were: don't fear the technology. If not now, when? Start. And don't do it alone. Use the community wherever you can find it. If you're in one of our DJ courses, you will find a ready-made community in there. Right, okay, we are done here, people. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. It's always good to help you with these things. I hope you've got some value from this. We're back on Thursday, 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, for me, Phil, in the Digital DJ Tips Studio, 2 things. 1, our Black Friday course sale starts a week today. So hold your money. The course sale from the biggest DJ school in the world is the one you want, with courses from Jazzy Jeff, from James Hype, and from all our other wonderful tutors, including myself. And it all starts a week from today. So if I've encouraged you to get started, hold your money until then. Don't buy a course from us now, wait a week.